Day 2 of Ravens training camp just finished up. We had a big play from Rashod Bateman, interceptions from Trenton Simpson, Malaki Starks. We'll go over all the practice notes and who was there. We also hear from Kyle Van Noy, John Harbaugh, Jaire Alexander, and Marlon Humphrey. All that and more in today's episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Day 2 of Ravens training camp is in the books. Strong attendance again. The same guys that were out yesterday were still out. Emory Jones Jr. obviously on the non-football injury list. Ardarius Washington on the PUP. And then Jake Hummel is dealing with that minor hand injury. And the only new absence was DeAndre Hopkins, who Harbaugh said fell on his knee yesterday, and they're just being extremely cautious.
Yeah, he'll be okay. He kind of fell on his knee, his leg yesterday on that sideline play. So just probably abundance of caution. I just held him out today.
Diving into practice today, Lamar Jackson threw a bomb to Rashod Bateman. Beat coverage from Nate Wiggins and Kyle Hamilton was like a 60-plus yard touchdown. Lamar Jackson also hit Isaiah Likely on a nice pass on 7-on-7. Let's hear from Cordell Woodland on the details of that play.
Isaiah Likely had a really nice one-handed grab in 7-on-7 up the sideline where Lamar caught him. And honestly, I thought that ball was going to go over his head. It didn't look like a great pass, but Likely made a fantastic catch, man, and run after the catch. I'm really excited to see what he's able to do this year if given a lot more opportunities.
There were also some interceptions today. Trenton Simpson got an interception. He picked off a Lamar Jackson pass that hit off Isaiah Likely's hands. Jackson ripped off his helmet in anger. Undrafted free agent Ruben Lowry stepped in front of Anthony Miller and intercepted a Devin Leary throw. And rookie Malaki Starks picked off Lamar Jackson on an overthrow. Also broke up a pass to Charlie Kohler where he seemingly came out of nowhere.
Let's go to one of the first rounders, Malaki Starks. Great day for Malaki Starks. Great day for him. He had one nice pass breakup in 7-on-7 where Lamar's trying to get it to Charlie Kohler, and I'm not lying, Malaki looks like he came out of nowhere. He's not in the frame, and all of a sudden he enters the frame and knocks the ball away from Kohler. Really nice play from him. He also caught an interception on a deep ball into the end zone as well, and combined that with him blowing up a nice run, I thought, on a Justice Hill sweep. Malaki Starks comes up, fills the hole, blows that play up as soon as it gets started. So I thought he had a really strong day today.
Great to hear Malaki Starks is out there making plays so early in camp. He's going to be a huge piece of this secondary. Obviously got a bigger role than probably was originally expected with the Ardarius Washington injury, so expecting huge things out of Malaki Starks. Ruben Lowry is also a name that continues to pop up throughout this offseason. I've been covering Ravens rookie minicamp all the way to now, and Ruben Lowry's came up at least 3, 4, 5 times. I feel like he's got about 4 interceptions so far just throughout rookie minicamp and OTAs and minicamp. I think Ruben Lowry is probably the leading undrafted free agent to make the team. Now, it's going to be extremely hard. I know the Ravens have a great track record of undrafted free agents making the active 53-man roster, but I think this year is going to be harder than ever to do that. But Ruben Lowry has pretty much done everything so far to make an impact and make a name for himself in camp. Now, he's been running a lot of safety in camp, so that's an interesting dynamic. We got Sanusi Kane and Bo Braid as the depth safeties behind Malaki Starks and Kyle Hamilton. Maybe Ruben Lowry is also thrown into that mix. We've also heard Jalen Armour-Davis was playing some safety, so I think they're just trying to test out and figure out all of those options. But shout out to Ruben Lowry, man. He just continues to make interceptions throughout this offseason and is doing everything he can so far to make this team. Back to practice, we got some notes from one-on-ones. Tez Walker got one over Jaire Alexander on a go ball, and then they ran it back, and Alexander clamped him the next time. TJ Tampa had a nice pass breakup on a vertical route to Rashod Bateman. Mark Andrews got one on Marlon Humphrey where he separated on a stop and go and high pointed the ball. And it seems like Mark Andrews and Jaire Alexander wanted to go at it in one-on-ones because they were both mad that the session ended and they were trying to match up against each other. The competitive nature is high this training camp. Heading over to the kicking competition, it was John Hoyland's day. Tyler Loop did not kick, and John Hoyland went 9 for 9 with a long of 42, so still not kicking from distance, but perfect on the day. And we've seen this rotation of kickers throughout this entire offseason. Harbaugh commented on that today in his press conference and said that they've always gave kickers breaks. Tucker didn't kick every practice either, so this is not abnormal, but there's also a kicking competition going on. John Hoyland definitely helped himself today, going 9 for 9. They're still kicking a lot of shorter kicks, so you're not getting to see the range as much, but regardless, 9 for 9 is 9 for 9, man. That's what I said yesterday about Tyler Loop going 6 for 6. You know, in a kicking competition, when the guys are perfect, it's hard to complain. So hopefully it continues. Best man win the job, and whoever the Ravens end up having a kicker this year is clutch and consistent. We heard from Marlon Humphrey today, who said something that really stuck out to me, and he said that he wants to get the defense back to being feared, especially in the division. He said that when they go up against the Bengals or the Steelers, those offenses don't fear the Ravens defense anymore.
When I first got here, obviously the Ravens defense was, I felt like teams feared what we did. Now, we are trying to get that back, but I mean, I don't think the Bengals fear our defense. I mean, I don't think the Steelers fear our defense. So those expectations, when it's in your own division, people kind of like, sweet, we play the Ravens. Based off, kind of what we're seeing defensively, I mean, guys are really running to the ball like it means something. I try to use an analogy that, well, there currently is a brick wall behind me, but if you told me to take off running, just turn around and take off running, you shouldn't look and see there's a brick wall behind you. You should just run directly into the wall. And I know for a fact Roquan plays like that. I'm trying to add that to my game. And I think if we can get 9 guys doing that, I think we'll be a good defense. But if we can get 11 guys doing that to where it could be a cliff behind you, you just turn around and we all go into the cliff together. I think if that mindset, because hustle and run to the ball, that's something everybody can do. And I think, if someone throws a screen and big Travis Jones is coming, 300 pounds of him, all that, and it's no wide receiver is going to either want to do a juke, whatever, and get down. So I think that's something that I've seen early on that I think if we can keep building on that, will be a great defense.
I love this mentality from Marlon. I heard him talk about this in his last press conference too, not exactly in this way, but just talking about getting back to that Ravens standard on defense, and they got all the talent in the world to be able to go out there and execute that. I think Zach Orr's better in his second year now. Still got a lot of veteran coaches around him too, and Dean Pease and Chuck Pagano, and I just really feel like this Ravens defense as a whole should be a top 5 unit, should get back to being feared, especially in the division, man. That's going to go a long way. Marlon also spoke about getting early morning breakfast club lifts in at 6 a.m. He said there's about 7 or 8 guys that are joining in on this. Zay Flowers included, Rashod Bateman, and Jaire Alexander.
We do the early morning lift at 6 a.m. It's about 8 of us. And he's like, man, I need a speaker right here as loud as can be. And I'm like, we are not alike in that aspect at 6 a.m., but he's a cool guy. We're both, I would say, on a little bit of a strange side, but we're really gelling well. That breakfast club lift. So it's been good. If you don't come in there at 6 o'clock on the dot, 6:01, you got to go back. You got to wait for the 7 o'clock group. So you better get up early because we're looking at the clock, waiting for it to be 6 and to send somebody back. But I love the breakfast club lift.
Weddle was leading that season.
Weddle was leading. Now it is a combination between me, Bate, and Zay. Kind of leading that early group. Yeah, Weddle. I mean, I felt like when I think I was maybe year 1 or 2, they were kicking you out at 5:59, and I'm like, dude, it's not even 6 yet. So we are waiting until 6 o'clock, 59 seconds where we kick somebody out. So, but it's always good, being on time is just we're trying to create an environment where everything matters. 6:01, like, does it really matter? No, but does it? Yes. So it's kind of just another thing we're trying to do. Everything matters. Accountability is going to be the key to the season.
Jaire Alexander also spoke to the media and said a huge reason why he came here was obviously Lamar Jackson and to win a Super Bowl.
I mean, that's my boy, like first name, last name basis, so we, it's funny. We was always talking about this, so it's crazy how God works and brought us together. So, I mean, I'm happy.
Do you think you would have wanted to come here if he wasn't on the team?
That'd be tough, man. Like, I probably would explore more options, but that's my boy, and I want to win one with him.
He was testing you a little bit yesterday, first day back out there. What was it like to be on the field with him again?
Who? Oh, Lamar. Yeah, he threw a back shoulder. He tried to throw a back shoulder on me with D-Hop. So I had to give him a little jazz about that. I said, come on, man. I know it's my first day, but man, it's still me. You know what I'm saying? It's still me. So. But, it's always fun, man. We can joke like that.
I talked about it a lot in yesterday's video, but I'm just so hyped that Jaire's there, man. I haven't really heard a ton of interviews from him either, so it was really interesting to get a little more insight into, his personality a little bit, and he compared himself to being weird like Marlon Humphrey. I definitely can see that a little bit, but it's not a negative by any means, man. I definitely think that personality is, just being yourself ultimately. I'm just excited that he's in a Ravens uniform. I think he's going to gel perfectly with the guys and just add an enormous amount of talent to this Ravens defense. We also heard from Kyle Van Noy, and he had some interesting things to say when asked about how long he could see himself playing. He said that he can play as long as he wants to, but that he's had an interesting offseason and that some guys value him more than others.
To be honest, it's been an interesting offseason. But I'm here. It's good. I'm just grateful to be with my teammates, honestly. I would love to celebrate with my family. That would be a cool experience with my kids, getting to that last game. But, obviously I'm not LeBron and Steph Curry, but the end is closer than the beginning, right? I know that. I think everybody knows that, but I can play as long as I want to. That's my mindset. I thought about it a lot this offseason, and, I'm just grateful to continue to play. My body's still good, and I can still play at a high level. I really think I'm one of the best in the league. I mean, my stats show it. The last 2 years, I'm top 10 in a lot of stuff. I still go under the radar, which is fine. I just got to keep waking people up, and I'm grateful to do it with people that feel the same way.
Can you clarify, you're saying you thought about a lot. Do you mean you thought about retiring this offseason?
I want to go into that. There's just other situations where I feel like I'm very valuable, and some people think I'm more valuable than others.
I'm guessing that's contract related. He is in a contract year. He probably wanted a 1 or 2 year extension to finish his career in Baltimore. I'm not sure if that's exactly what's going on, but when you're talking about how much you're valued, usually that's what it is. So we'll see how that situation plays out, but happy that Van Noy's here this year. He said he's feeling better than ever. That's amazing to hear. I think he's still a huge piece to this defense, a huge veteran presence. He is extremely underrated too, man. He talked about that in his press conference today, and I agree. And Kyle Van Noy's been on a lot of teams, man. There's a lot of teams that were getting rid of him and moving on. And I remember when the Ravens first signed him, he didn't have a ton of interest and look what he's done, man. He had a career year last year with the Ravens. So shout out to Kyle Van Noy. He's a huge piece of this team. And another thing that I want to highlight that Van Noy spoke on is when he was discussing how good Nnamdi Madubuike and Travis Jones are.
Can't forget those guys in the middle. Travis Jones and Nnamdi are special. They're a special duo. To me, I think they're the best duo in the league. They're not talked about enough. I mean, if you go watch the first couple games when Trav was healthy, you could argue he was just as dominant as Dexter Lawrence out there. If you really watch the film, he was that dominant.
Saying that Travis Jones was playing like Dexter Lawrence is high praise, and he's not wrong, man. It was only a short amount of time before that ankle injury, unfortunately. Travis Jones played through that pretty much the rest of the year too, but was not the same, which makes sense. A bigger guy like that, all that weight on an ankle, it's just hard to heal when you're playing football every week. But regardless, Travis Jones healthy. I'm expecting a huge year from him as well. Another guy in a contract year. And I agree, man. Nnamdi Madubuike and Travis Jones probably is the strongest interior defensive line duo in the entire NFL. And they are going to ball out this year. That's pretty much it from day 2. We got day 3 tomorrow. Training camp practice just continues to roll almost every day. But I couldn't be happier, man. Football is back. We get to see the Ravens out there. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited for this season. I'm excited for the rest of training camp, the preseason. I love it all. So let me know what you guys are thinking about everything. Anything that stuck out to you on day 2, let me know. Appreciate you guys, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your night. And I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens flock, the flock rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The flock rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.